Hey there, Cinephiles. Today I wanted to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and where it ranks amongst the trilogy. Before I get into this review, I just wanted to say that I saw this in IMAX, and when the Dune Part 2 trailer came on, chills. Anyway, getting into the review now, one thing I will say is that the MCU will definitely miss James Gunn and his Guardians of the Galaxy. By far the most emotional films on a character level are the Guardians movies in the whole MCU, and Volume 3 is no different. In this, we get Rocket's backstory, and when I tell you that my heart was getting absolutely destroyed with every single flashback, I just can't think of any other time a Marvel movie had me on the verge of emotionally breaking down like this did. It's because of this that I had so much hatred for the villain High Evolutionary. I just know the whole audience like me wanted to swing at his stupid face. His motivation was made clear, and with how his god complex played out, it did make for an enjoyable experience once he, spoiler alert, lost. But getting back into Rocket's backstory, you could tell where this was going, but that didn't soften the blow at all. Each of the experimented animals tug on your heartstrings the whole time, and this is one of the few times when the MCU really does use its PG-13 rating to a good degree. Overall, these flashbacks continue to serve who is undeniably the best character from the Guardians franchise, Rocket Raccoon. The only thing that irked me about how they handled his relationships in the film is his utter lack of connection between him and Groot. For a duo that was first presented together to when Rocket essentially became Groot's father, the waterworks should have also came from their relationship, especially since the rest of his connections to people were so clearly being showcased. But not only was this heartfelt relationship between this duo seemingly forgotten, Groot himself took a major backseat this time around, which sucks because he seemed to have upgraded in different designs and utility. Let's get into the other characters. Overall, practically everyone else had a much more realized arc than Groot. This is pretty impressive since a lot of the film's runtime is spent diving into solely Rocket's backstory, and even the main villain plays a major part in the past and present scenes. Peter Star-Lord Quill is someone I wish had been played by more interesting of an actor. I don't know, I mean, he's just really serviceable. But to continue to elevate this movie, I just wish someone who looked like they gave more of a crap stepped into this role. It seemed like since Quill wasn't completely the main focus this time, Chris Pratt didn't commit as much. Mantis and Drax are well done, and their dynamic is something I really praise. Their buddy/father-daughter dynamic is very sweet. Also, them being able to show their own intelligences that aren't the conventional smarts, it was so incredibly well done that I had a realization about this a few days later. Mantis showing off her intrapersonal intelligence, and Drax showing off his surprising linguistic intelligence in ways that I think are better to experience when you watch the film. This was just a very nice touch on the whole 7 intelligences theory and how we are smart in different regards. Nebula continues to get written better and better, and I really like the version of her that we see here. Now with the complete redemption arc, what she has within the group is something that has taken years to get to, but I'm glad is finally here. Gamora, not the one that we've known before, but one that adds a whole new element when she's with the group. As a rougher version of the Gamora that we used to know, I like what James Gunn did with a character that he didn't really have a choice about changing to such a degree. The two Guardians in training, if you will, Cosmo and Kraglin, have little moments to shine and aren't overused, but I'd be more than happy to see them again. But the only character who felt underutilized, not named Groot, is Adam Warlock. I was hesitant to be on board with Will Poulter being casted as the so-called perfect specimen, but for the version that he plays, I enjoyed him. However, this isn't quite the man that was advertised, and for him to have such a rushed origin story in a bloated movie, it just didn't mesh well for me. Still, the strongest aspect of James Gunn's directing is his character work. To be able to tell these themes of found family through aliens, androids, and animals is impressive. I just have flaws with the comedy at times taking away from an emotional moment and some of the pacing of the film. I give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 a 3 out of 5 stars. At the end of the day, Guardians Volume 3 is a beautiful mess of a film. With some of the best stuff to ever be part of the MCU, the flaws are just that much easier to be seen. Marvel Studios once again will miss James Gunn and his Guardians though, but I do think we should all be excited to see what heart James Gunn brings to Superman next. And also, in preparation for the final time that we see this team, I did a rewatch of the first 2 volumes, so why not give my quick ranking for what seems to be the most beloved Marvel trilogy. This was pretty hard to figure out which Guardians I'd personally have at the bottom, but I had to go with Guardians of the Galaxy from 2014. This is the one that started it all and is considered by many to be the best MCU film. Look, it is fun and it sets the tone for what the Guardians are, but it's also a bit forgettable. I feel like there are many aspects that just seem very basic compared to the other 2 that take bigger swings. And visually, I just think this is the blandest looking one. It might just be a case of watching this a few too many times, but for now I have it in 3rd place. In 2nd place, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This second outing may may be much more of a mixed bag than the first one, but personally the highs of this outweigh the consistency of the first film. Yondu and Rocket in this have some of the best material in any comic book movie ever. The fact that they're mirrors of each other and have such close relationships to Peter Quill, it all works so well and shows how great Gunn handles these types of characters. I almost cried because of Yondu, man, and in the first movie I didn't even care about him at all. And at number 1, of course, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It just elevates so much from the first couple of Guardians outings, and I was here for it. A fitting end to this ragtag group, and for as much as this is a mess, it is also the most impactful on my heart. But alright, those are my thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and my personal ranking of the trilogy. Be sure to let me know your thoughts and rankings down in the comments below. As always, thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to follow us on our socials. Stay tuned for more Yeti Films content, and I'll watch you later.